Welcome to the Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, where Linux is always on tap. Each show will have a talk about a Linux project, such as a Linux distribution, a desktop environment, or application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community. Anything that is Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. And with me today, I have Eris, Jinda, Vince, and Mark. How is everybody today?
Excellent.
I'm good.
All right. So be sure to do the straw poll, even if you didn't try the application Zulip. Go ahead and do the straw poll and say, I didn't do it. So it's fine with me. The link should be in the chat. If not, I'm sure Jinda will pop it in there once again. On the doc for today, we'll go over our straw poll, application appetizer of Zulip. We'll check what's on the menu for next week, do our last call. But first, what have you been doing? Our tech in Linux. Eric, he's not here. So he asked the question, is anyone interested in the Pine Tab 2? Says it's available this month, but is anybody actually interested in it?
What is a Pine Tab?
So from Pine 64.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yep. It's their second iteration of the Pine Tab. Not sure if you've...
Tablet?
Yep. So a Linux tablet.
Interesting.
Or
That
just
sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's
I'm
a
gonna
quad...
be interested.
It's a quad-core all-winner A64 at 1.152 gigahertz, up to 2 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. I think it's low-power DDR3 RAM. This looks like the Pine Tab 1. I got the wrong...
Yeah, that's what I just said.
I'm looking at the wrong one. All right, so apparently, I guess this is it. I don't see a Pine Tab 2, but it does have an attachable keyboard, micro SSD slot, got the built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I don't see the Pine Tab 2. I think that'd be on the website. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the same information I'm getting.
Oh, wait, here's the link for Pine Tab 2. All right, so this one is here, a system-on-chip Rock Chip RK3566. It's a 4-core Cortex A55 1.8 gigahertz. It's got a Mali G52 MP2 GPU running at 800 megahertz, supported by the open source Panfrost driver in Linux and Mesa. That's good. Supports OpenGL 3.1, OpenGL ES 3.1, and many newer extensions. It has a neural processing unit. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds fantastic. The RAM on that is 4 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes of DDR4. The storage is 64 gigabytes or 120 gigabytes internal eMMC. Also has a micro SD slot. 10.1 inch IPS LCD display at 1280 by 800 resolution. A 2 megapixel front and 5 megapixel rear camera. 600 milliamp hour battery, so 22.2 watt hours. As far as physical buttons, it has a power, volume up, volume down. It has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, one USB-C 3.0, one USB-C 2, one micro HDMI. It has an audio jack, a 3.5-inch millimeter audio jack. That's cool. A 5-pin pogo connector for a keyboard. What does pogo connector mean? Is that those like buttons that like retract when you push them?
I don't know. Sounds good.
And a PCIe on PCB that is a flat flex ribbon connector. No room for an M.2 NVMe drive in the case. There's some other stuff there too, like multimedia nonsense. But it seems like the excitement behind tablets has kind of waned over the years. I mean, I don't know has anyone noticed that besides me, or maybe it's just me. But like I remember when the iPad came out, and then Android had a bunch of tablets. Everyone was all like tablet crazy, and then I don't know. I don't see so much of the tablet talk these days.
I think the phones are big enough for no one cares anymore.
I bought a 10-inch Amazon tablet a couple of years ago. I think they made it too good at the time because it's still performing great. And I mean, I've had it for like 5-6 years. I think they just made it too good, and I haven't wanted to switch it out. So
I had a 10-inch Kindle Fire as well, and the kids took it with them when they were doing something and I said, okay, just be careful with it. And it came back bent in half. So I don't know. I tried to fix it, I did, and ended up just making it. It was just a waste of money. But I have a working screen I could put in something else, I suppose.
I mean, I think at the time those were like $59 or 69 or whatever.
Yeah, it's
but,
real inexpensive. Yeah.
yeah, not worth if you cracked it or something happened. You know, it is kind of a disposable type thing at this point.
Well, the reason I liked this, I had a Minecraft world that I didn't back up off of it that I really wanted to. Now it's gone forever, I suppose. I mean, I still have the tablet. I didn't throw the tablet out. So, I figured the connector, if I could fix the connector where that plugs into the monitor, then it would probably be fine. But it doesn't, the touch on it doesn't work at all. So I suppose I could do something. I don't know. But tablets, are we?
I'd like to try this Pine Tab 2. We need to try a Linux tablet at that price point.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty decent.
That'd be the thing, is a good price point on a tablet. I think it'd be fun to like I have some I'm gonna stumble over my words a few more times here before I actually get the sentence out. I have a tablet that I use. It's a Raspberry Pi 3 powered thing, and I have it on the kind of an end table next to my recliner, in the living room where I rarely sit. But when I do sit there, it's nice to be able to control like the lights and everything. So it's kind of like my little, it's a home assistant basically thing. So it doesn't really do much beyond that. Sometimes the kids will play like the Minecraft Pi version for some reason. They can play it anywhere else, but they like to take it for that. I don't know. But outside of that, I really haven't like used it. I think it'd be great for that purpose. As like a tablet to interact with things. But the Pi 3 doesn't have enough horsepower really to do like multimedia stuff. It's not really good for that. But this, yeah, $209, $159 for the 4 gigabyte RAM, 64 gigabyte storage, and then $209 for the 8 gigabyte RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. I mean, that really doesn't seem like too bad of a deal, really.
You probably want the 8 gigabyte.
I mean, I probably would, yeah. That Kindle, 10-inch Kindle, how much RAM does that have?
I don't remember. I want to say I think it was only like a 2 gig if I recall.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but I tell you what, again, it just, I don't know, something about it. Just, it still works great. It's still powerful and fast, responsive.
Probably because Amazon ships their own Android version, so
yeah, they keep it nice and here on my desk.
I have an HP tablet from like 2011 that I still use. I forget what it's called, HP something.
I won one of those HP WebOS tablets
Mm-hmm.
at a conference once. Does it still work?
Yeah, actually, in fact, I use it. So for my daughter, she's doing a history. Well, it's a research paper on Nicholas Copernicus, and we went to the library. There's basically nothing, like no books they have on him locally. So there's a lot of online stuff for it, like different books and whatnot. So actually, I used that tablet just to read the different PDFs and like web stuff on it. Not for anything multimedia, but just reading web content, text. Simple web pages like Wikipedia and other stuff. It seems to work fine for that, but I'm not asking it to do a whole lot. I also use it like as kind of an interface for my like front end for Octoprint over by the printer as well. So right now it's in the house, but otherwise use it just for simple things also. Well, so very interesting. Pine Tab 2, Linux tablet computer that's being released in April. So I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes of that. It's an interesting piece of hardware. I don't know that I need one, but there's a lot of things I've purchased that I definitely don't need. So that's not really a good indicator as to whether or not I should have one. So that was Eric's topic. So maybe he wants one. Maybe he's really excited about it. All right. So next we're going to move on to the straw poll. So if you have not yet done the straw poll, you can hop in on that. So Eris, how did the straw poll shake out?
The number one answer was not interested in this exploration. 33%. And then number two answer was Tux Penguin. 21%.
But so it's kind of the same answer. So really, you can combine this. But half
Yeah.
the polls basically just said,
A little
yeah,
bit
not
more than
interested.
half, like 52%.
Yeah,
3.
that's awesome. That's amazing. I love it.
And then the third answer was it is okay. That's 16%. It is good, 11%. And other, that was 11%. Did not have a good time with it, 5%. Not interested in doing explorations in general, 5%. And I did get a reply, and he said didn't have time to check it out. Other, and I just replied back. I think I need to clarify and expand the meaning of the option. I'm unable to do the exploration, which is I think the same thing. I should just put that. It's like I don't have time for this. Sometimes people have do extra work or life just gets busy. So I usually have that as an option. And I said thanks for the reply.
I think it's fine. I mean, if you want to make it clear, if you find that you can make it more clear and you feel good about it, I guess do it. So not one of our most engaging polls we've had, but that's okay. It's all good. As far as the application Appetizer, Zulip has some ground rules, I guess. So developing software is not an easy thing to do. We have a taste of various applications, so we can see what interesting things are out there. Not every application is for everybody, but I would like to pick out some positive features and also discuss some of the anti-features as well. So people worked really hard to make the software happen. Let's work to encourage continued development of Linux and open source software. All right, so a little bit about Zulip. So there's a lot of team chat apps. The answer of why they built Zulip is we talk about Slack in discussion, and as well as like IRC, Mattermost, Discord, Spark, and others. Busy Slack channels can be inefficient, and so this is designed to add a level of organization to it. So if you've tried it out, you see that you can dynamically add different threads within a room or whatever. So I think it's a very interesting way of doing that. It's funny, they say channels rapidly devolve into GIF posts, and that's actually one of my favorite things about chats is GIFs make me laugh. I like to, when if someone sends me something, I don't really know how to respond to it. I think an animated sticker or GIF to me is the best way because sometimes I'm short on words. Yeah, this is it's like a Slack. I was a little bit mistaken on, I think there are ways you can add other like services into it. At least that's what I understood initially, but I'm not really sure it's pronounced GIF. So if it's a graphics interchange format, would it not be GIF, Leo? I'm just saying. I don't think it's GIF. I mean, I think the creator said GIF of it, but I don't think GIF makes sense to me, unless someone else can justify that.
Something only nerds would care about.
It is. It is absolutely something only nerds would care about, and actually to say I even care about it is really quite the stretch. All right. So how did you install or begin using Zulip? What was your preferred method for those that tried it?
I did it on the website.
Okay.
I did it on the website.
Okay.
They do have an app image, right?
They do, and so I
Okay.
used the app image, and I already had App Image Manager installed on my system. So it's a really nice way of managing your app images on your system, and so I added the app image. It seems like
I started on the website, and now I'm in the app image.
Okay.
And it did this really neat thing when I started the app image, and I put in the URL link for your server.
Mm-hmm.
It recognized that I already had logged in with my on the website, so it just pulled a token over, and it's just automatically logged myself in.
Well, I find that slightly frightening, actually. I'm just saying, because they pulled a token. So how easy is it to pull a token, like malware, to just pull tokens out of your
Well, you're logged into the website to the server.
Right, I understand that, but let's say you open up a nefarious application. How easy is it for that nefarious application to grab your login, your tokens? I'm just saying, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I tried the FlatHub because it's in FlatHub too, but
Oh, is
the
it?
official one, of course is the app image that they have. And I put in the link that you gave us, but it doesn't work. It kept saying there was an error, and then
Oh, really?
so I found out that you have to just put like the like the subdomain domain. So basically cubiclelabs.zulichat.com, not
Okay.
join and everything else, because I guess it gets confused if you do it that way. You just
Okay.
need like the first part of the link. But I tried the web version first, and I did the other way. Once I figured out that I guess that's what it was saying, but it was saying something that it couldn't connect. It might be due to a server error or some kind of certificate. It wasn't very helpful. But I figured that's what the issue was.
I can't say. I mean, I set it up, so I didn't join any other servers. Nobody invited me, but I figured as much. I don't get invited to many parties. So once it was up and running, I played around with some of the settings, and I made, I think, Prophetic and Explorer hopped in pretty early, I think on Monday when I set it up. And so I made them part of a core team just to see like how easy it would be to manage teams and whatnot. And that all seemed pretty easy there. So that I thought was cool. And I didn't like add any other like core, like if there are like multiple core teams, if you want like have like different groups for different things that are limited. Oh, Leo, thank you so much. I'd still be the awkward guy in the corner, not sure how to communicate with other people. Mark would know. He saw me at Southeast Linux Fest, how awkward I was in public. Yes, I thought it was easy enough to like manage and understand. Everything seemed very intuitive, or at least it's like other things. So it was very I could get along very well there with Zulip. It wasn't a problem for me. It did remind me of Slack mostly. It does remind me of Slack mostly, I should say. And I haven't used Mattermost, so I can't compare it against that. Of course, I've used Discord, and I can see some of the Discord flavoring in there. Or maybe is Discord modeled after something like a Slack? Do we know? Anybody know? Because I could see how Discord could be used like Slack, because you can be part of different organizations. You are like all the different Discord servers, right? And that is analogous in here as well. And then different groups and whatnot and mentions and so forth.
I'd say Discord and Slack and Zulip all, basically look very similar to me, function the same. Same as Telegram too. Right?
Yeah. So Leo says Discord is Slack, but good. So he must love Slack. Leo, I try so hard to like Discord. I really do. I'm just not there yet. I'm trying. I have it on every day. I'm in Discord every day, and I saw that I had a bunch of notifications right before the show started. I only clicked on one from BitShady. That was a direct message. That was easy to see.
I'll have, if you don't mind, I'll jump in.
Absolutely.
We have at my work, we had a Slack channel, and we also use, we're in the Microsoft world too. So we have Teams, and Teams, we actually get work done. In Slack channels, everyone's just posting GIFs all day long. And there's so much stuff that scrolls by that you can't actually get any work done over that, hey, I need help with something, come over here, look at this piece of code or whatever. We don't get any work done on that. So I avoid the Slack, channels and such. And I don't know, maybe that's just a culture thing and maybe it's different for every type of every company. Maybe it's just different, but I like actually doing chat where you get some work done. There's a time and a place for both, I should say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like GIFs and stuff scrolling by too, funny things, but there's a time and a place for both, I think.
So you're saying funny things on Slack and work on Teams. That's kind of what I'm getting from what you're saying.
That's what that's kind of what I do right now. But I would, and Zulip, I think would be the same type of thing. You would want to maybe you just need to set up some channels where you say, okay, look, this is for getting things done, and then use the other channels for just general discussions and funny things and pictures, that type of thing, screenshots.
I got you. Now, as far as like work activities, is there a reason why you think that work gravitates more toward Microsoft versus Slack, the Teams versus Slack, I should say?
Well, I can tell you, one thing I found helpful is, of course, Teams is integrated with your logon and everything, so it actually switches with your presence. So it'll show you if you're on, someone's online or just stepped away, or if they're busy in a meeting. And that, I think, is, and I know you have status in these other products too, but the question is it actually synchronizing with your calendar and then showing you busy so that people won't bother you? There's also a do not disturb. So when you're in a presentation mode and you got something full screen, you won't get pop-ups and such. And so I think that close integration with that WOS means that it's just a little bit more useful in that way. You
Talking
can
about Warp OS 2?
no, the Windows OS, but because then I can look down on my team and see who's available, and then have a chat with the people that are available, and leave the other people alone because they're working, right? So I think that integration's good. If you're like right now in Zulip, it shows that we're active, in Eris and Nate, you're kind of dormant or whatever, so it does have it in Zulip. I like that. Basically, I would use Zulip like that. I would say, okay, well, Jinda's online, active. I would ask him a work question, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's a nice interface, and I like that they're dark. Mine came up with a dark theme, but I guess some people, I don't know if it's changeable, because I was asked by somebody. It might have been prophetic.
For a dark mode.
Mine came up with a white theme, and I had to change it to dark, but it was easy to change.
How did you change it?
If you go up to the little cog in the top right, cog for settings, then there was a personal settings, and then there's a display settings. It said by default it was sync with the computer, but in the browser that didn't work out.
Okay.
And then there's dark theme and light theme.
Yeah, so mine says sync with the computer, and it was dark automatically. So
yeah.
Oh, cool.
You can switch your emojis, your emoji theme.
Yeah. There's Twitter emojis, Google emojis, plain text.
And for the people who like the Google blobs.
And Google blobs. I know some people that would like the plain text emojis.
So there are integrations that you can pull into it as well. Did anybody play with any of those integrations?
No.
No. There's a Zoom integration. I should have played it. Well, I don't want to risk screwing something up, so I didn't.
Going back to what Mark said about Slack and how they use Teams, it's always interesting to me how they pick the name Slack, and then it's for like for work. People use it for work, for like organization. Like Slack just says like you're slacking off. It's like, isn't it in the name? And that's how Mark said that his job it is. Like people don't use it for work.
Right.
I really do like the name Zulip. It's very unique. For me, it shows that they put some thought into it, I think.
It doesn't have the integrations that I thought it would have, like going into it, but it does have a lot of neat integrations. None of which I need, like right now, so it wouldn't like displace anything. But I mean, it does have some, like Dropbox, Google Calendar, Instagram. I'm not sure why you'd want that. Maybe someone has a workflow that would require that. I don't know. But I mean, it does have matrix integration.
There's an option to add global time. Everyone sees global times in their own time zone. That's very useful.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, so I see the value in something like this if you had like some serious work to do. I mean, it'd be certainly would be neat to play with for sure. If I gotten that far.
And you're right. This would be great for. I know enterprises, small, medium size businesses, they could end up having quite a large, bill for Slack users and everything. I could see where this may fit the need for a small to medium business, especially that whole setting up the organization thing. I mean, I think it's I mean, Slack works the same way, I believe. But yeah, small, medium business could get started right away with this.
Yeah, and I think it keeps like, I don't remember how many thousand it kept for the free account. So it doesn't keep forever, it just keeps a certain amount. Which, I mean, if you have a small organization, you're just using it for whatever, I mean, it would work great. And also you can self-host it. There's nothing that stops you from being able to host it on your own network. So that's also very cool that they do that.
Yeah, I think that's neat. I didn't go that route in the testing, but if I had more time or inclination, I would.
Yeah, it was an inclination thing for me. I wanted to just test out the interface and see how it felt. That was more my idea. It's just an appetizer. It's not a full 5-course meal of Zulip. It's just an appetizer, just getting a taste of it. But I did like the topic structure. I thought that was very unique. Maybe Slack does that, I don't know, but where you can then dynamically add different topics as you go. So something like Explore, he started like an Amiga one or something like that. Yeah, Commodore Amiga group. So under General, there's a drop down for now Commodore Amiga, and so we should start like a Linux Saloon Amiga club, and it'd be like 2 people, myself and Explore, because nobody else in the right mind would spend money on that. That's pretty cool. So Leo says, "Ooh, straight up RP style back in the Yahoo chat days." Are the Yahoo chat days over, Leo? Everybody remember AIM, the AOL Instant Messenger? That was like the cat's pajamas for like a long time.
Yeah, that was pretty swell.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty groovy.
The mass adoption of America Online back then.
Mm-hmm. I never had America Online, but I had AOL Instant Messenger that I used. I used it for probably a good 6 years.
Yeah, AOL. What was the other one? MSN was the popular one. But you could run either software.
Yeah.
You didn't matter which software you're running.
Yeah. There was a client that I used in Linux that I could have my Yahoo, my MSN, did I say AOL? There's a bunch of them I could have. Give me all of them. It was
like Pigeon?
Yeah, that wasn't Pigeon. It was the KDE version of Pigeon. So it was the same thing, basically. But it was really handy. And then I was also had a Same Time, which was the Lotus 123. I used it at an employer, a previous employer, before they switched over to the Google world. They had that. And there was also IRC. IRC is still fun, I think. Mostly because I can use it with old technology. So any features you particularly wish that it did have? I would say some way for me of adding Telegram would have been nice. I was hoping I could do that, and that was not a thing I could do. Or Discord, but there was Matrix, and I didn't add that. But I thought that was for me. That's what I would have liked to have seen.
I think I saw that they offer like support for certain apps, like platforms, and then there's other like somebody developed like their own way of doing it that you can also use, but it's not officially supported, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think I saw something on their website, something like that.
Well, you can build your own integrations for it, so there's nothing stopping you from doing it if you're so inclined. Sean Gold says it all went downhill after Usenet. In a way, he's not wrong. Does anybody here remember Gopher?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember using Gopher. I thought
no.
There is no way that this will ever catch on, and then the internet did, but not with Gopher.
But did you see that DistroTube video about Gopher? About he thought Gopher was amazing and he wanted to make his website in Gopher.
I did not, but if you have a link, please share that. Welcome, okay, Scrap.
Good evening.
I think I cut you off there, Eris. What were you saying when I cut you off?
I was going to say that it's very simple, but I guess that's the appeal of it, because usually with a lot of websites, there's a lot of JavaScript and a lot of animation and things going on, and like you really feel like you have an old computer, but Gopher's so simple, so it's like I forgot what he used. I think it's terminal to serve it. Oh, he used like a terminal browser, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is Usenet still around? I haven't even looked. Is that still a thing?
I don't know.
It's usually an R thing. R. If you know what I mean.
I'm gonna put that in my my follow-up notes. One of the things I like about Linux Saloon, I get to have things that I can go down the bunny trail with, when I can. Like, any other thoughts of like things that you wish that they maybe had in Zulip that would make it a better experience for you if you tried it? No, nothing.
It
It's
seems
actually
pretty
pretty
good.
cool.
I mean,
But like I was saying, I'm not sure how would I benefit this versus using like Matrix?
Yeah, that was my question.
I don't know what the difference is. Like I understand that with Matrix you can like jump from one server to another one in case the
Mhm.
server goes down. So I don't think this has that probably. But other
No.
than that, I don't know if there's some other benefits to each platform.
I could see it being like a Discord where you attach to different actual bespoke servers out there. And then if one goes down, then you just can't access that server because people can host their own Zulip instance. So that in a way is kind of like Matrix. I don't think it has that same kind of federation thing between the servers. It's just two users, if that makes any sense. But yeah, no, I think I wouldn't have a direct need for something like this, at least not at this time. All right, so Don says he does a feature request. One button, stop animated GIFs. But Don, that's the best part about the web experience are the animated GIFs. You know, I mean, like the peanut butter jelly, you know, the dance thing. Remember that one? The sandwich.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Yes, that one.
Jelly time.
Yeah, well, I think as far as like features, I think just be like some other integrations would be great. I suppose you can make them, but I don't really, you know, outside of that, I don't really need something like this at this time. But I do think it has a lot of value, and it's something to watch and see how it develops over time. I hope it's successful and keeps going. All right, well, if you want to check out Zulip, I'll keep that server up for as long as it's used. I'll keep it on, and I'll watch it. But if the people totally lose interest in it for a significant amount of time, then I'll probably shut it down. But yeah, it's just another chat client, I guess, like Slack, except maybe better. I don't know. All right, so next week we got an open mic night on the schedule. So if you have any suggestions, send your recommendations to suggestions@linuxsaloon.com. I will throw them into the show and discuss them from there. But you're also very welcome to join the chat, be a part of, show your face or avatar, and be a part of the conversation. For a little housekeeping, I do have a Linux Saloon calendar. You can check that out so you can see what shows are coming up. I still have to do more filling out on that. And also, I do little blatherings after the fact, after the show. When I get done editing it, I kind of give some additional thoughts just on my website, you know, like a blog. But blogs sound pretentious, like I have something important to say, when I really don't. So it's more of a blathering. You can check that out at cubicle8.com. And that's what if you want to see what else I have to say, if there's any interest there whatsoever. All right, so we'll move on to some open discussion. Now, Jinda, before the show started off, you talked about how you tried something again for the first time or second time, or I don't know how many times, but you were very excited, and it was like all good news. So do share.
It was all good news. Well, I tried. Everybody said try Virt Manager because the last time one of the times I was trying to get one of the distros to work in VirtualBox, and it kept barking at me.
Right.
So I decided to try Virt Manager. The last time I tried Virt Manager was a number of years ago, but when I installed it, it started yelling and dying and not working right because of VirtualBox. Something was interfering with the two. I don't know what it was. So I said, all right, this isn't for me right now. I don't want to do it. And since then, I know I've updated my system since then. I looked online how to install it. One of the things I didn't like about Virt Manager, this is one of the things, I can't go into like one of the repositories and click install Virt Manager. You have to install like 4 or 5 different packages to do it, which is fine. It's not like it's hard to do or anything. It's just not like a one-click thing. I don't know why it's not a one-click thing. You would think some of the Linux distros would have tied it in a box for you, you know, and put a bow on it. The only other issue I had,
I think that's called GNOME boxes.
Oh, yeah, right. It is GNOME boxes. Yeah.
That puts it in a nice little tidy box, as you're saying.
Right. Yeah, it does. And they called it GNOME boxes. Either one of us is brilliant because we both thought of it. Yeah, so I ran it, and I have to say it's a lot faster than VirtualBox. It's quicker, snappier. I think Nate said it the best. It's closer to the hardware, so to speak. It was more difficult to get it to share folders. You have to type in some oddball command in your host that I didn't, like sudo mount -T9P. I don't remember what it was, but it was like some oddball thing you had to type in to get it to work. I did get it to work, but some of the stuff in it, like that, I thought should have been a little easier to do, because you would think more people would do it. I tried getting a USB, to point to a USB flash drive, and that was challenging it also. But it was so much faster. I think maybe the headaches are worth it. Does anybody else have any thoughts on using Vert Manager, or no one uses it, or they just use VirtualBox, or what?
Yeah, so I use Virtual Machine Manager, Vert Manager,
Okay.
libvirt, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And I have a basically it's just a string of just different packages to install when I install it. So it's sudo zipper install libvirt q emu virt -manager libvirt daemon driver tac driver, or dash, whatever you call it. And then that gives me everything that I need. Those 1, 2, 3, 4 packages, and it pulls all whatever dependencies are required for that. And then I can do pretty much everything that I want to do. The big thing that I needed to figure out was understand which hypervisor to use, whether it was user session or like root session or just not user session. I don't know. Mark would probably know the answer to that, what it's called, the connection thing. But and then I can't recall. Like I normally use like I just SSH. Like if it's a Linux machine mostly, then I'll go right into the host machine from there, and that seems to be work. That seems to work the best for me. Maybe there's a better solution. I don't know. I just go direct to the IP of whatever machine I'm going to go to. So it has to be on the network for it to work, which is kind of annoying because if you're offline, that doesn't really work. But I'm not offline. I'm usually connected to my home network. So as long as the home network is working, I can do that. But outside of that, no, I do find like any Linux distributions I test in Vert Manager, but I prefer running my instance of Windows in VirtualBox because of that integration into the home, into your directories on the host system. I just thought was easier. I didn't have to faff around with it, and that to me is kind of huge. But I only need that for Windows, and I didn't notice really much of a performance difference between. I mean, yeah, okay, Vert Manager is faster, but I had some issue also with like mounting USB devices into Windows. It's fine in Linux, but I had trouble with it, so I just ended up just using the VirtualBox just for doing Windows 10. That was it, nothing else.
Was VirtualBox giving you was it the one that was working with USB?
With Windows, it seems to work better USB devices with VirtualBox with Windows, but that's it. It works fine with other with Linux distributions as well, but I like the performance on Vert Manager better than VirtualBox with Linux distributions or BSD.
Right on. I always when some of the music gear that I have, USB devices, they don't necessarily like to patch through. And at one time, I could use Wine to do some of the things, or even some of those tools would work in Proton under Steam, which is one of those cool hacks. If you don't want to mess with wine in bottles and things or virtual machines, you can try to use Proton to hack some of that. But there are some things, yeah, you have to have on Windows running to have all of the DLLs and the and whatnot. So yeah, VirtualBox for me was always a go-to because I knew it. I used it on Windows before, and it's here on Linux. So I have not messed with Vert Manager or any of the other Linux native options. It's got to go with what works, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, Vince, do you do much virtual machine stuff? Is that a thing that you do much of?
I used to, but not so much. I keep a Windows VirtualBox going because I need that for work.
Mhm.
But I did try Virt Manager once, but it was very early on in my learnings, let's say, and I couldn't get it to work. I haven't tried it since. This is probably a couple of years ago now. I might give it another go. I'll have to go and read the Arch Wiki pages because that's what I do.
I know you seem very well versed in the Arch Bible.
I read them a lot.
Yeah. Every night before you go to bed, kind of put you in the right place of mind.
Yeah.
I want to welcome a new face to the Linux Saloon. How do you?
Hello.
Miss Cool, Mr. Cool. How shall you be
That works.
referred?
You can call me Mike.
Mike. Okay, Mike is a little easier to say. So
Mike's
welcome.
a new friend. I met Mike on the Polymaker Discord.
Oh,
and he has
fantastic.
he's a dev, and I'll let him speak for himself. He's
Oh,
a cool
nice.
guy. He's got some cool software.
Well, welcome. Well, we love to talk about people's projects. That's kind of the main crux of it, of the Linux Saloon, I think. And so, what kind of cool projects do you have going on?
Okay. Well, there's a whole bunch of different fun things that are going on, but probably the most awesome one is JSketcher. I'm involved in that project, and it's basically building a browser-based parametric 3D modeler.
Okay.
You know, sketches, constraints, all the normal bells and whistles, but running in a web browser.
Is that something that you could run like locally though, as well? So not
Yes.
just.
Yep, you can self-host. The source code's up on GitHub.
Oh, nice. That's very cool.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely. I mean, I run a Chromebook as my daily driver, so
Oh, okay. Wow.
it's
I have
got
a hard
the
time with
Debian
that keyboard.
environment. With the keyboard.
Yeah, it's missing some keys that I want. That's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, he was
Uh,
And
good.
that backspace is a killer.
It-
On a Chromebook,
Yeah.
I always go to hit the backspace, and it's where the power button is.
Oh no.
Yeah, I guess it depends on which one you get.
Yeah. Yeah, so what kind of so you're building this so it's a mechanical design application then for doing parametric 3D modeling, is that the idea?
Yeah, if you want, I can share my screen and show you.
He gave us a pretty good rundown of the latest stuff on this on the Polymaker Discord last night. It was kind of cool.
All right. Yeah,
doing,
this,
Wow,
this-
little
Yeah,
demo's gonna be great.
yeah, this will be great. All right, so I got it configured. You can share your screen, and then so I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm closing out all the extra tabs I need because I'm going to
Okay.
be streaming from a Chromebook. So just keep in mind that the performance isn't going to be great.
It did fine last night.
Okay, here we are. So you can see my screen.
I
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
it,
that's
and
good.
so can
It looks-
everybody on the YouTube stream
Yeah, the stream looks great.
Everybody on the internet.
on the World Wide Web.
I've heard of that place.
I think it's scary. A lot of mean people out there.
It's in Canada, right?
Yeah,
I think
mostly.
half of it is.
I don't know about that. Nobody likes to say they're sorry on the internet.
Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, this is basically the application.
Okay.
You can self-host it if you want. The source code is up on GitHub, but you can start off with like making a plane, then you can start drawing geometry on it.
Okay.
And by the way, this is live. There's nothing happening server side. This is all happening client side inside the browser.
Okay.
But then you can do things like apply constraints to stuff. So I made this horizontal now, and I can do something like making these two lines. I can make these two lines equal in length.
Oh, that's nice.
I could do kind of the standard kind of CAD workflows, and then you could do things like extrude. So I can make some kind of a little object here.
Sweet.
Maybe I want to go back in time and edit it. change some numbers.
Nice. Can you do helical sweeps for like threads and so forth? I see you have sweeps
Uh,
and revolves and a torus.
So we don't have helical paths yet.
Okay.
The APIs are there for doing sweeps, although right now it only works on closed loops, so we have to make it so that it works on an open loop.
Okay.
But yeah, that's something that's on the list.
Sure, that's cool. This is really cool. I'm
really cool.
Not that you know or care, but I used to be a full-time designer, like a mechanical designer. So stuff like this really interests me a lot. And I've had trouble with a lot of other applications falling on their face when editing things in the tree. So
yeah. What software were you using when you were doing this full time?
Creo, PTC's Creo.
Oh yes, that's a proper parametric modeler.
Yes.
That's a little hard to work though. I've tried Creo.
So I can do SolidWorks or Fusion 360, Creo, and they all work fine. In fact, I have some Creo stuff on cubiclenet.com. It's just not a direct link to get into it. I used it to share with other coworkers at the time when I had like things I had to figure out, and there wasn't really a place to store it internally. But
what's the platform you're developing this on? You said Chromebook, but I think last night you said something about Debian also.
Well, yeah. So you can run a Debian environment inside a Chromebook. It's like built into Chrome OS now. You could just launch a Debian machine, and yeah, you can use that, or you can use GitHub code spaces. I don't know if anybody's ever used that yet, but GitHub's pretty nice like that. You can actually open up a VS Code straight in the browser, and it's running on GitHub servers. Of course, you got to pay for it, but
I did put a link to the GitHub in the chat, if you don't mind. I did do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna click on that. I'm still paying attention to you, Mike. I'm just loading up the GitHub page because I want to read. I want to do a quick read through on that if possible. See if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the license, it's a little bit different than most of the normal like open source licenses. We didn't want to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Sure.
But we also didn't want to like screw anybody. So it's open to a point that it isn't. Basically, yeah, if I pull up the license it's a little weird. It's going to put off some of the Stallmanites out there, but it's not terrible. Basically, it just basically says that if you're a company or if you're somebody who's using it, right, you just got to contribute all your changes back if you make changes to it. And if you don't want to, there's an option to buy a commercial license, so you don't have to contribute your changes back. So
that seems fine.
Pretty, yeah. Some people don't think that that's fair, though. They want to just be all like, well, this violates Rule 0. Blah, 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 blah. Let me get my neck beard out.
I'm a big believer in the idea that you have to choose a license that works best for you, the developer. So I don't have to necessarily agree with it, but as long as it doesn't, as long as it, like the license doesn't require me to like kick puppies or anything like that, I don't see where the problem is.
Oh, kicking puppies.
Yeah.
I'll have to add that to the next version.
So let's say somebody wanted to try this out and like set it up locally on like their own.
Yeah. I can show you. I can show you the setup procedure for that.
This is very cool.
If you have to have npm and Node.js installed, right? So I'm going to assume that you already have that.
Okay. Assume away.
You're gonna, if you switch over to the dev branch, because that's where the latest and greatest work is all happening.
Okay.
I would highly suggest doing that. But once you've cloned the dev branch down, just go into the folder, and you're going to run npm install. And I'm gonna close out this one because that's the one that was already running. So you just do npm install and then npm run start. That's all you got to do. And this will spin up a little server. And it's kind of an interesting server in that if you modify the code for the CAD application, it automatically recompiles and you just hit refresh in the browser and it always updates. So yeah, it's gonna start running on port 3000. Okay. In this particular case, because I'm running this on a VM over on GitHub, I got to just go and expose this to the internet, and then you can just load it up.
This is very
and
cool.
It should come up. So it's literally just those two things: npm install, npm run start, and that's all in the README file.
Okay.
Yeah, the README file is pretty good, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it's got the getting started with the code section.
Nice.
Yeah, and let's see, something to kind of think about a little bit, and it might be a little bit annoying, is that whatever you have at the end of the URL after like a question mark is going to be the file name. So if you create something at just the slash, it's going to load that every time. And this is something I was just messing with.
That could be really handy, because if you're gonna, like, let's say you have an organization and you're running this for your organization, then it'd be very easy to, like, say you can look at the part here.
Well, so here's the thing, right? Everything is stored actually in local storage.
Oh, okay.
So if we do an inspect, and we look at the application tab here, the local storage is where all the files are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on. There we are. So, oh, come on. Why? Yeah. So local storage is where everything gets stored. So it's only in your browser. You can export, though. You could do file. You can import projects from here, and over here you can do a. Come on. You know what? I gotta get rid of some of my changes here because they're causing issues. Get rid of these. I was just messing around with some stuff, so that should eliminate it. There we are. Yeah, so this tab right here will show you a list of the projects that you have stored in your local storage. And if you hit the little 3 dots, you can download it and save it locally, and then you can import it on a different machine or whatever. So, and if you want to just test it, you can always test it at the at this link, the autodrop.cloud/JSketcher, and you're not locked in. You can go and take your data and put it someplace else.
Now, as far as the data types, what are the different? Is it a unique data structure for this CAD application?
It is. It is using Open Cascade under the hood for doing the Boolean operations, and you can import native FreeCAD files and step files. You can also export BREP files, which open up in FreeCAD just fine, and there's some other applications that should be able to load those also. But you could design something in here and then load it up in FreeCAD if you really wanted to. Okay. So,
sorry, yeah, maybe you said it and I didn't hear it because I'm good at that. But do you have any can you import like step files or STLs or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Here, give me a second. Let me just import a step file. I downloaded this. Let's see. Is that the right one?
This is super cool.
Yeah, this is definitely cool.
Try that. So I'm going to import this. There was a file that I downloaded. Somebody didn't model something on the origin. They modeled it all the way off in space. Who does that? Only jerks do that. But this is a step file that I grabbed off of GrabCAD.
Okay.
And there's a nifty feature here. So let's just say you wanted to delete these holes and change the size or something.
Yes.
Right. If I do a delete face, I can pick the faces that make those holes. Come on, pick. Whoops. Hello, cat.
That's a Linux thing, by the way.
There we are. Oh, he clicked over into the next field. Damn it. And we went into an extrude. I did not want extrude. I wanted to be doing delete face. Hello, cat. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm picking these faces that I want to get rid of. And, theoretically, they're going to go away. I haven't tested this on this model. This is all just live off the cuff while sharing screen from a Chromebook. So there we are. So we just remove those. And maybe I want to go and put in new holes. So I'll just go over here and sketch on there. Oh, that's fun. Why is those arcs not proper? Well, there's always different things that happen.
As long as it prints okay.
Yeah, it would definitely print okay. I was hoping that I was going to get actual proper arcs here in the sketch for me to constrain new points to, but I can make do with this.
Right.
Draw some lines across there, and then let's say I want to go and put in a couple of points here, just toss them out in the middle of space, and then I can pick like the point and the object, and it gives you this little toolbar so you can go and say, oh, I want to put that point on line, and then I want it to be at the midpoint of that line. And that's how you kind of make your constraints. So
right.
Are there keyboard shortcuts for these?
There's a few different keyboard shortcuts, but I really typically don't use them. Mostly because everything's exposed out here, and it's kind of like when you click on different things inside the sketch, it helps you by showing you the things that you can do. It doesn't necessarily let's see.
No, I like that feature because there are a lot of times when I'm in FreeCAD and I'm kind of searching around my toolbar and things, or I know the shortcut for a thing, and if you could add, not only have that little window that says here's your available options, but have like a parentheses where it'll show your keyboard shortcut for it. You could just glance over and click that. That would be a really neat feature down the line. For workflow.
Yeah, I could definitely see how that could be handy.
But this is awesome. You can just load something up. Say I have something that's in SAE or whatever, or standard, and then you've got a model that's metric, and I can just go in and delete those and put my own thing in. That's neat.
It's super cool. So I could then, in theory, then I could import some other CAD objects, like if I'm want to rework something and then put it back out there on the worldwide Thingiverse. Then I could do a what is it, like a rework of it? I don't know what there's a term
remix.
For it. A remix, yeah, something like that. And then I can share that and tag it to the original work.
Amen.
So yeah, this is very cool.
Yeah, I mean it's just basically a CAD application, but we're trying to do things properly.
Mm-hmm.
Like FreeCAD has some issues. I don't know if you've noticed any, but
yeah.
we're trying to do things more properly and trying to avoid things like the topological naming problem. Right. So while we're not perfect at this point, I think we are better at not having your model go completely awry if you modify things earlier in the history.
Bonkers, yeah. So I moving from something like Creo to FreeCAD has been a challenge for me, and
that's because you're used to a real CAD program.
Well, yeah, I want to be gentle with how I say these things because I don't want to poo-poo on FreeCAD. I wish them all the best of success. I think they've made a lot of strides over the years. Maybe not so much in the parametric modeling area, but strides elsewhere. Like the finite element analysis, I think is pretty cool in FreeCAD. Things like that. But if like how good are the rounds? Like doing rounds. Like let's say I want to round between those those radiuses around each of those holes. So rounding.
You want to do some fillets in here?
Yeah. They do some fillets, and then can you then do a
Let's see. I want to pick that edge.
And you have a pick list
It
too?
gives you,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
if you hover, it'll give you the little list of everything that's under the cursor.
Okay.
So I could pick like that face, that edge, or whatever that is. I don't know what that is, but yeah. If I wanted to go and do those, and let me go and add a couple more here. The interface is kind of more similar to Siemens NX, because that's
Okay.
kind of what I use at my day job.
Sure.
So trying to keep everything very consistent for all of the features.
Right.
And that's the other thing. Every single feature here uses the same widget toolkit for selecting edges, selecting faces, selecting vectors. It's all uniform.
I would say this is a lot more like how before it was called Creo, when it was like Wildfire.
Yeah.
Before that, or Pro Engineer when it was just called just that before that. It was a lot more like that, how you would get those pick lists would pop up.
Yeah. So there we are. We got some fillets and stuff in there now. And of course you got the whole feature history down here. So if I wanted to go and change something, I always can.
Okay.
Like if I want to go back in and change that fillet size. Unfortunately, right now, every time that you go in and you edit a feature, it recomputes the entire tree. That's something that we're working on to make it so that it doesn't have to do that. It only recomputes the. Oh, come on. Yeah, there's, obviously it's development. But
I mean, so far it looks really good. I did some CAD work on I built like a tray to put inside of a Commodore 1541 disk drive shell. I don't even know if you know what that is, but I want to turn it into another thing, basically turn an empty shell into a usable, functional accessory for my computer. And so I built it all in FreeCAD, but I would shift one thing, and all the references for like rounds went to something else that was bonkers. And it was really frustrating, because I have to go every time I made a change, like if I had to make just a slight alteration, it would screw everything up, and I'd have to spend a lot of time reworking the entire part. And then when I would start doing sketches, the whole model would disappear as I'm doing sketches, like it wouldn't be there. And so it was getting,
yeah, I was crapping on FreeCAD, but as you see, everything just blew up there, and there's something inconsistent happening as far as naming goes right now, which shouldn't have happened. But
well, I've never met a perfect modeler, so
yeah,
I wouldn't worry too much about that. This is definitely something that would be worth just checking out, at least for me. I mean, if it's as simple as what you demonstrated, just having Node.js and what was it? What was the other thing that I have to have? NMP?
NPM is just the package manager for Node.js.
Okay. All right. Follow-up notes here. Hang on.
If you do a sudo apt install npm on Ubuntu or Debian, that will give you everything that you need besides Git to get this thing going. So you just need Git and apt install npm, because npm depends on Node.js, so that covers everything.
This would be a cool application where you could have it hosted. Say you had a home server, and you had multiple machines maybe that you wanted to work from at different times, and you could just load it up.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. Now, can you do server-side file saving? Like storage?
That's something that we don't include in the open source release, but if somebody wants to do that kind of stuff, they can. And of course we have the AutoDrop Cloud, which if you sign up for an account, you can store your stuff there, and we're not like Onshape at this point or anything like that where we're going to go and screw everybody. Plus your data is portable, you can always export it, if you're worried about us like going out of business or something.
So what about like content management? Do you have any way, are you looking at building some kind of a content management system so you can actually have like a centralized repository for different?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that's in the works that we would want to do more centrally. But yeah, because we don't want to just like hand off everything for somebody else to just go and duplicate the whole thing and then just set up shop and
Right on.
cut us all out. But yeah,
I think that's probably less likely. Like, I was just thinking about this. Like, of all the open source software out there, that's really quite good. That just needs a little bit of tweaking. I don't think anybody has the inclination or the desire to just copy open source software, make it their own, and kick it back out there. I think that seems less likely because of the technical liability to maintain that. Just I think is more than most organizations can handle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this right here, I don't know if anybody's familiar with OpenSCAD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is OpenSCAD running inside the browser, and we paid out a bounty to have somebody port it to WebAssembly. I don't have any models in that. Let me go over here, load something. Yeah, this is an OpenSCAD part.
You've even got a G-code preview I saw there momentarily.
Oh, yes. Hold on a second here. Let me do this. I'm going to just run this real quick. It's going to produce the part. Come on. Yeah, if I go back over to here. Yeah, this is part of, this is like the auto drop system, which is used for managing 3D printers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I wanted to go and get some of these things made, I could go and add them to my cart and check out with them. And theoretically, people can add their printers to the public map. In practice, right now, it's just really a bunch of hobbyists who have some stuff hooked up. But I'm going to go and send this to the Spark Makerspace. It would go and ask you for your prices and stuff if you had billing turned on for your organization there. The Makerspace, we print everything for free for everybody, but you have to be added to it. So
That's pretty
this
cool.
is actually going to start printing on the machines in a couple seconds here. Let's see. Oh, this one's on a machine already. Get a little picture. Yeah, right there. Look at that.
Nice.
But yeah, that's oh, let's see. How do I stop sharing?
You stopped.
There it is. It's gone.
Oh. Yeah,
Thanks
that
for the
was
tour on that. That's cool.
Yeah, the AutoDrop Cloud is a commercial thing, but it's free for everybody to use. And the only time we make any money off of it is when people go and route jobs through it to get manufactured. So
that's also part of your business as well?
Yeah.
Routing?
Yep.
Okay. That's very cool. And before you turn off your Zoom with me, I need to talk to you like when the stream is done. Okay.
Oh, okay. Absolutely.
Now let's say I was a professional designer. Now I don't know what I am anymore. And let's say somebody like wants to start a business and utilize your software, and like Fusion 360. Yeah, Fusion 360 has a, if you're using it for hobbyist purposes, you don't pay for it. So are you going to have some kind of a tiered system too? Like, let's say somebody decides to start a business, they want to utilize your software, that they could purchase a way of, I'm making money off of it. I would like to help you continue the development of it. How would that work?
Okay, so currently we have two things for that. First, we have the Open Collective. We have an Open Collective for just the CAD software, and that's that lets people donate either one-time things or they can subscribe for a monthly donation or something like that. And then we also have the commercial license capabilities of the JSketcher software, right? So if you're a company and you want to go and roll this out for your employees, or if you want to embed it into your website for your customers to use, you could pay a license fee and get the source code and not have to contribute back your changes. So if you were to interface it with your own proprietary backend database or link it to something else, we don't need to know about that if you bought a license.
What if you had like a database system that you want to link it with? Could you be hired, like a bounty, whatever, to assist with that process?
Yeah, we could certainly do customizations for people and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's kind of how we've made our money so far is, somebody comes and says, hey, I got this special app that I'm trying to do, or we're trying to customize it to do this. And, we'll go through and we'll customize it for that particular purpose. And the software gets better every time because, something's, happening.
Yeah, I think that's super, super cool. And I definitely am going to dig into that, investigate for my own CADing, and see and see what I can see, because it looks like one of the things that I noticed as you're going through the demonstrating, when you made changes, you didn't have all these strange shapes along the same surface. Like in FreeCAD, if I were to like extrude something, and where there were faces that were aligned for like another extrusion or whatever, it would show those other extrusions separately. But as you were building, like you mirrored it over, you didn't have a line that stayed there in the center. It merged away.
I did have a line that showed up in the center, but as soon as I did the Boolean on it to glue those two pieces together, then it went away, because inside there's a simplify checkbox on the Boolean, which you can turn on or off, because sometimes simplify doesn't work, right?
Okay. Well, it's that I think there's a need for simplification. I think that makes your designs better.
Yeah, because if you don't simplify it, right, and you got like an edge or something that's close to where you're going to be putting in a fillet, if you have like two faces and they're the same face basically, but it's just an edge that's in the middle of it for no reason, that could screw up doing a fillet, because it can't go beyond that edge.
Right, and those are some issues I've had in the past as well. Is there that function in FreeCAD? Do you know of that a Boolean function like that?
Yeah, FreeCAD has it. I forget which workbench what workbench it's in, but it's the simplified body, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's really cool, and I'm
not trying to crap on FreeCAD.
No, it's fine.
They've got all sorts of good stuff in there. It's just there's no direction with that project, because you have so many different people who are contributing from different angles, and there's no consistency in the user interface at all.
Right. A little bit of an anarchy, maybe you could say.
Yes.
Which, I mean,
chaotic.
It has its advantages. People are satisfying what they need out of it. How is the 3D rendering done? Is that all like CPU 3D rendering, or is it
that's using WebGL 3JS.
Okay, so it can take advantage of your GPU then.
I would assume so. It depends on what machine you're running it on, but yeah, WebGL, and it depends on what your browser has implemented for WebGL.
Sure. So do you require a certain browser? Does it require Chromium, or Firefox will run Firefox even?
I've heard that it runs pretty well in Firefox. I personally don't use Firefox very often, but yeah, mostly the Chromium browsers, it works pretty good on those. That's what we test on.
Okay, so it's built against that. Fantastic. Does anybody else have any questions for Mike?
I just wanted to say thank you so much, Mike, for joining and showing us that. I think that was super cool.
Yeah, extremely cool.
Yeah, no problem. This has been pretty fun.
How long has it been in the works?
So JSketcher has been around for probably 6-7 years as far as like the initial code base. So there's another guy who started the project, and he developed a two-dimensional sketcher, which is like the most fundamental part of a CAD application that you need. At the time, I was searching for a two-dimensional sketcher because I was thinking about trying to put together a 3D modeler for the internet. And I came across his thing, and it actually had 3D modeling capabilities in it, very rudimentary, but like it had all the bones of a good CAD program, and I recognized that. And I started working with him, and it now resembles much more of like a full-fledged CAD application now. And he's amazing. He's really good at doing the more complex bits of logic for like the solvers and stuff like that.
And Mike, are you okay with us giving a plug to your YouTube video in the chat?
YouTube video.
Your YouTube channel?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Go nuts. I'm trying to get up over 1,000 subscribers.
Well, you got an extra one tonight. At least me.
Excellent.
So are there any plans of like integration with any sort of CAM programs, like either 2D or 3D CAM?
Yes. So we have somebody who just decided that they were going to commit $500 a month on our open collective for having us to try to build out some CAM functionality. And, just depending on how long it takes, because it does take a lot of time to go through and try to develop something like that.
Right.
But yeah, somebody wants to have us look at that, and they put their money where their mouth was. So
yeah, that's fantastic. It'd be nice. Like I've looked at some other CAM programs, like that are available, and to have like an integrated package, kind of like Fusion 360. I mean, you could position yourself as an alternative to Fusion 360. Really, is kind of what I feel like you are already.
That's what we're shooting for, and we're trying to get the modeling capabilities to a pretty stable point, and I feel like we're very close to having that kind of feature complete as far as the basic modeling tool set. And the next step before we even start doing the CAM workflows is doing the basic assembly module, which is going to allow you to basically take parts and constrain them together.
Right.
And the reason that we need to do that before we start doing the CNC stuff is because having a constraint system with assemblies is going to allow us to build a machine and simulate the positions of the machine. And once we can do that, then we can actually start running G-code, or we can run toolpath generation and toolpath testing in there. Because if you don't have that kind of functionality initially, doing toolpath testing is going to be impossible. So
right, that makes sense.
Kind of the roadmap.
That's awesome. Where do you see? How long? I mean, no pressure here. No, I don't expect a commitment, but how long before you think you have like an assembly module, and then after that the CNC or CAM program module? Like, do you think like within the next couple of years, 5 years?
Well, so realistically, right? If we were able to raise, $250,000, we could have assemblies and basic CAM functionality within 1 year.
Okay.
If we're just doing this in the spare time, yeah, it's going to probably be 2 or 3 years before that happens. But it just depends. Because if we could have somebody working on it full time, then it would be so much quicker as far as the advancement.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And as far as your funding right now, to what percentage do you think you are for where you need to be able to make these things happen? I mean, I suppose
well, we got
the lesser amount of funding.
We got $500 a month.
Yeah.
We got $500 a month from somebody who wants to have us kind of working towards that goal. So it's a ways away, but not impossible.
Then do you have a link to your how that would?
Yeah, let me find the Open Collective link.
Yeah, the Open Collective. That's what it was.
Here, I'll post it in. What is this? The Zoom chat. Is there a Zoom chat here? I've never really used Zoom. It's always been Google Meetings. So there we are.
Oh, this is fun. I'm playing with it right now.
I'm sorry. Tell me the difference again in the JSketcher versus yours.
JSketcher versus what?
Versus the AutoDrop.
So AutoDrop 3D is the company, and JSketcher originally was started by Xbyte there, and he's the other co-founder in the company.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. And if you look at the license on JSketcher, it references the AutoDrop 3D. So it's, even though they might look like they're slightly askew from each other, they are linked.
Yeah, I don't want to install it now because whenever I'm doing this stream, I don't mess with other software just because.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Well, no, it's I'm already like, I have a very tiny internet pipe, and so I'm just like, if I were to describe my internet pipe like you would a car that you're gonna race with, it's like I've got a Dodge Omni from like 1987 going as fast as it can to keep up with the stream. So.
Well, never underestimate the bandwidth of a station wagon driving 65 miles an hour down the highway with a truckload of tape drives.
Exactly. That's about where I'm at. With wood paneling though, it's got to be a wood paneling station wagon though. With only 3 hubcaps.
Oh, I was going to say I was lucky enough recently to get 5 gig fiber to my house.
Oh, nice. That's fantastic.
Frontier, I guess, is rolling it out in all the areas and Frontier took over for SNET when they got sold off or whatever.
Okay. What part of the?
I'm actually looking at
world are you?
Setting up VMs and stuff now at home.
In what part of the world are you?
In northeastern U.S.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic. I'm in rural Michigan, and I don't actually have like cable or anything like structural that I can connect to. So I'm using a cellular uplink, basically a dedicated cellular uplink, a dish that points.
Have you looked at Starlink?
Not yet available. So, but I have put my deposit down on that about almost 2 years ago now.
It's worth it. It is worth it.
It'd be nice to like have both and then like bond them. I don't know how to do that. Be able to utilize both channels just to make sure to have the extra speed. I don't know how to even do it. I don't even know if it's possible exactly, but it'd be nice to have both. I use the internet enough, You got to have failover too. This is really great software here. And then now it runs. So it's uses it's a WebAssembly, so it runs in a web browser. Is there like a if you want to like package up like an application front end, something like an Electron app? Is there anything like that in the works too?
Yeah, if you're on the GitHub, you got to switch over to the dev branch.
Okay.
On GitHub. If you look at the 4 different branches, there's the dev branch, which is the one that has the most recent updates. And down at the bottom, we actually have some stuff for doing Electron builds now.
Okay.
So you can run it. I mean, you can run it locally just by spinning up the node and all that, or you can I try to build the Electron version of it and be able to run it locally. We've got to get a GitHub workflow set up so that it automatically produces those builds, but I haven't been able to figure out how to have GitHub produce the Macintosh build or the OS X build, so haven't finished all that yet. But that would allow us to do publish releases with it. Okay.
So I'm on your GitHub right now. Which repository should I look under? Is it the AutoDrop 3D client?
No. That's a different. That's for controlling printers.
Okay.
Here, I'll post you the link for the dev branch here in the Zoom.
Okay, great.
That's the repo for the actual JSketcher software. The WebAssembly portion of it is in a separate repo, and we have a link to that in there, I believe.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, try to keep it as open as we can without giving away the farm,
Right. No, it makes sense. Any like sheet metal, look at doing like any kind of like sheet metal bending type functionality, or is that down the road a little bit further?
That's going to be down the road a little bit further. I have in there a sheet metal workbench, the start point of it, but there's some stuff that we need to figure out before we go down that path fully.
Okay.
The sheet metal workbench is not in a usable state, even though you can switch to it. But it is definitely not usable yet at all.
I'm not saying that I need that right now, but I mean that's great that you're working on that. I did a lot of most of the things that I did were either like plastic injection molding or sheet metal design work, more than like machined parts, because they were for production appliance manufacturing. So that's what I did most of. And the tools like drafts and such, is that functional too?
We do not have something for doing draft angles at the moment. But yeah, I mean, you can do lofts, so
Okay.
you could kind of get around that if you needed to.
Okay.
But that there is an API in Open Cascade for adding drafts to things. It's but it only works on planar faces, right? I don't know whether it works on cylindrical faces.
I haven't used that in
I have to think
OpenSCAD.
about that. Or not OpenSCAD, Open Cascade.
Okay.
That's the same modeling engine that is the foundation for FreeCAD. And it's also kind of the way that it's been integrated into FreeCAD. They're not tracking the IDs and stuff for things, except in like the Real Thunder branch, which if you
That's
want
the
to have
branch
a
I'm on.
if you wanted to have a good functional kind of FreeCAD environment, you'd have to use the Real Thunder branch.
I actually installed that. I've been playing with it a little bit. But the CAD models that I have put together with that one, they still, like, if I try and modify a sketch, everything disappears still while I'm doing the sketch, and then like the 3D model part of it disappears. I'm not sure why. I might try taking some of those models and importing them into this and seeing how, if like a step file or something, just to see if I can do modifications, if I can delete surfaces and delete whatever.
You can load native FreeCAD files into JSketcher.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, because the native FreeCAD files, it's literally a zip file. Like if you change .fsck, whatever it is, the FreeCAD file format, if you change that to .zip, you could open it with any archive utility, and inside there it has a whole bunch of these little individual brep files, which is the actual geometry. And then you just have to figure out which ones to ignore and which ones to keep, because it keeps intermediate steps in that archive.
I wonder why it would do that.
Well, so the next time when you opened it up, it has them cached. That's one of the things that we don't have, because it recomputes the entire tree from scratch each time, as opposed to caching the things. So that's something that we have to add on ours, but just hasn't gotten there yet.
Okay, that's very cool. Well, golly, I really appreciate it. And so just for clarification, the project, the whole project, is called JSketcher, or is it AutoDrop 3D is the name of the company, right?
AutoDrop 3D is the company. JSketcher is the CAD application.
Okay, so JSketcher, which is for like the elevator pitch for it. How would you say it's a web-based 2D
it's
and 3D
a web-based.
paramedic?
Yeah, it's a web-based CAD system.
Okay,
that's what I would say. Because when you say parametric modeler, you could be meaning Open SCAD, which means you type in programs to get your code, and it's technically parametric, right? But it's not like a drawing type workflow. This is more designed for actual CAD work.
Okay, it's a 3D CAD modeler then, that's designed for people who are visual that don't want to input equations to design their part.
Well, I mean, yes, but you can input equations. We have an expression tool in here.
That's good too.
So
then can you then build like relationships in between different pieces of it then? So if one side of it is so big that it automatically scales other things through.
We can do things with the numbers. Currently, you have to jiggle the handle in each sketch if you've modified things. So once we get that set up so that you don't have to jiggle the handle or touch something in the sketch to make it update, it should be pretty robust for doing kind of standardized models with equations driving them.
Okay.
That's very cool. Could use like in the like the extrude like length value, you could put in a variable name, and then you could define all your variables and edit them. That's actually over on the left hand side. It's got the tab which looks like a little percentage button. Yeah, actually I could show you that if you want.
It's Mike, and
here, I'm just going to open up a brand new thing, and let me share my screen again. I don't know if you can you see the screen now?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So over here, we got this little percentage thing.
Yep.
Right. And if I want to go and say like length equals 10, width equals 100, whatever that is, I can use, or if I wanted to say width is equal to 100 times length, I could do that. And then let's just go and make something like a cylinder. So I'll give this the diameter. I'll do that as the width, and my length, I will put that in here. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, and now if I update these, so let me change this and replay. Come on. Yeah, there we are.
Nice. I like that input tool there. That's really nice.
Yeah, eventually, if you have this, we're going to be doing something which is more like a little tool thing where you can create a dialog which has all these values in it, and you could do like different widgets, like having a slider or drop down or something to fill in the values for expressions that you make. So that's kind of the long-term goal with that.
No, that's great, because then you could actually define an envelope for a design, and then the model should follow that envelope then.
Yeah. Yep.
That's very cool. Well, hey, thank you very much again for being here. We are just about at time, so we got a link. I have a link in the description for all this, as well as a link to how they can help fund the project if they're interested, and everything else in the description of this video once it's published. And yeah, this is great. This is you're an unexpected surprise bonus that happened in tonight's Linux Saloon. So thank you so much for being here. This is actually I don't know if you can tell, but this is super exciting for me because I've been on this constant quest to find something that'll work in Linux that can do these things. And I've been this close to paying for VeriCAD and just spending $800 for the year just so I can have a CAD modeler to do just basic things, essentially. I've been so frustrated with FreeCAD. And it's not to poo-poo on the project. I think they're doing a lot of great work. They've done a lot. It looks better. It is better than it was 5 years ago. So they are making progress. It's just really hard for me to use just to do basic things. And I don't need it to do much really right now. I have these basic designs I want to just knock out, and it's so much work for me to knock out basic designs in FreeCAD. And then this might be the solution. And if I can get this to like launch an Electron app and have everything work, because I was reading through that, I said a little builder at the bottom there, the generate Electron builder for desktop. That might be the ticket right there for little old me for at least the time being. And yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. So I super appreciate you being here. And is there anything else you want to plug or say about this?
No, I I think that's good.
All right. Well, fantastic.
Thanks for letting me crash the party here.
Oh no, the Linux Saloon, the doors are always open if the stream's running, of course. And we do have a Discord and Telegram rooms as well, or what do you want to call them? Chats, places to communicate via text or GIF, as well. So there's that. Well, thank you very much.
We tried to get to the Discord servers yesterday through links, but for some reason the Tux Digital ones are I couldn't send an invite, and the link in the YouTube description was an invalid invite as well. So I think we need to.
I will
check
update
into
those.
That.
I'll make sure Eris puts it on my things list of things for me to do. Yeah, I'll check on that, make sure that's good, and then I'll try and fix that. Well, thank you very much. It is our last call. So the Linux Saloon, there's a theme to this. So tomorrow at is it 9 Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, Steve's very own, he does the Coffee Clatch Sunday mornings. So check that out. It's a very chill chat to have on a Sunday morning while you sit back on your coffee and make yourself some pancakes. So check that out. Mark, you are a part of the Atlanta Linux Enthusiast group, And how's that going over there?
Going well. We meet every Sunday. Except for Christmas. That's last year.
Understandable.
And the Atlanta Linux enthusiasts are it's an online group now. Ever since COVID, we do online. We meet at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern for 3 hours, and anyone's welcome to join. It's kind of a help session. There's no set agenda, and then people can share their screen, and we'll help them with a problem. And if there's no topic, who knows? We may go through like an install walkthrough of something, and all this CAD program stuff, it sure interests me too. I may have to do the walkthrough tomorrow with my members on that group. So again, anyone's welcome. Again, you're going to need to manage your own help. Make sure you get the help you want, and you can find out more about that at ale.org. Thank you.
Fantastic. It's a great group. I enjoy visiting when I can. But sometimes my Sunday afternoons get a little bit funny, so I jump in when I can. Linux User Space, their next episode is dropping Monday. It's an endless OS history with special guest star Cassidy James Blade. To get the real scoop on what it is and all about, Dan and Leo weren't the target audience for Endless OS, but it's admirable work that it's being used all over the globe, so check that out. Also, their next episode is a topic episode, so if the Linux Saloon happens to have a topic or two to throw their way, please do. Check that out at Linux User Space. There'll be a link to that in the description as well. But they would love any feedback, and maybe we shall throw them the topic about this. I think that'd be fun. I'm on a podcast called Linux Out Loud. We have our next episode is being published on Wednesday, and we talked about how much space do you really need on your system, either your computer that you work off of, your server. We talk about all that. How much space do you really need?
128 megs is all you'll ever need.
640K, I think, is all that you really need. I have a website called keepgoinglate.com. I do things.
One last thing.
Oh.
We will be changing our clocks in the U.S. ahead because of daylight savings starting tomorrow. So anybody who watches us internationally live, we will start the show 1 hour earlier.
And
so you know.
And it's a good thing we have that calendar.
Yes, because the calendar will be local to whoever
it should be.
Looks at it. Yeah.
So hopefully that works out. Thank you for that. So be sure to check the calendar to see, make sure, whatever time. And I think it's what that funny business is like for a couple of weeks, a month, or something like that. I can't remember. Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support, however you do it, as part of the conversation in both the Zoom meeting and YouTube stream, as well as everyone for watching the show after the fact. I want to thank everyone involved in making the Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back in our personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Well, until next time, maybe an hour sooner, maybe an hour later. See yas.
We'll see you sooner or later.
Yeah, something like that. Wait one. Phones and tablets. So I had at some point here, as quickly as possible. And where did my link to Zulip go? Good job. There it is. Yeah, you're muted. Yeah, I think
Or not.
I think I can turn that on. Hang on here.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that was it. I was totally derailing. Were you gonna say something, Strap?
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Oh, no worries. I thought you were gonna say something. No worries.